All right, so I had to have a little break in there, and I'm going to continue now. The next one that I usually hear is, and man, she sounds so, oh, I sound like I was fat right there, right? Oh, she sounds so depressed about her life, and like so covetous of what men rights are. Like I felt like the feminist movement was moving on her post. She's like, it's not fair that a man can have sex with multiple women. I'm like, if you want to be a hoe, I mean, your man can have sex with multiple women that he is in a relationship, in a covenant with. But if you want to be a hoe, you can only be in covenant with one man. Why? Because of the law of the husband. There can only be one man. You are attached to that one man for the rest of your life, or for the rest of his life. So the law of the husband prevents women from having multiple husbands. I mean, it's common sense, but since you want to be a hoe, be a hoe. Let the righteous be righteous, but keep your mindset to yourself. I say, in my opinion, let the corrupt be corrupt, and let the righteous be righteous. If you just so desire to be a hoe, go ahead. The Most High, He feels the same way. If you don't want Him, if you don't want to live that righteous life, then kick rocks. Keep going towards what you desire. And you can find out what happens whenever that happens in Romans 1, the whole chapter. Read the whole thing for yourself, because it was a progressive process. It's just going to keep getting worse, and you're going to get lost in your own desires into your reprobate mind. So turn away from it or keep going. Is your decision. The next one is, I actually agree with this one. I actually agree. They said, and I think it was them trying to be funny, but I actually agree with it. It makes sense, because it's actually in the Bible. They said He made Adam and Eve, not Adam, Eve, and Jane. That's true. But what's the relevance? What's the relevance? It doesn't make sense. Why are you bringing it up? That's true. But how does that apply to polygyny? If it's already been condoned, what's your point? All right, so, I mean, the next one is, it was only in the Old Testament. I think we already talked about that. The next one, next person says, will it be in the kingdom? No. Actually, there won't be any marriage in the kingdom. In the kingdom, we're going to be married to Hamashiach. If you believe in that sort of thing, like Hamashiach, it's going to be the church married to Hamashiach. Why would we be married to someone else? In Matthew chapter 22 and verse 30, it says, for the resurrection is they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as the angels of Yah in heaven. Man, so we won't marry and won't be given in marriage? Man, that, that sounds about right. We'll be as the angels. All of our time will be focused on the Most High and worship. What's up, Ed? All right. The next one. It's only for populating the earth, and we're no longer doing that. If y'all dumbass is no longer populating the earth, that's on you. But I could have sworn one of the first commandments that the Most High gave to every creature, everything that had breath, even plants, because plants have breath too, whether you believe in that. But I know some people may have to go study the science behind plants, but go ahead, go and get you some knowledge on plants. Plants breathe too. That's how they clean the air of what? Carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide? One of them. That's how they clean the air of all the smoke and stuff. The trees breathe it in and give us fresh air. It's common sense. I could have sworn that we are all told, and it wasn't taken back, to be fruitful and multiply. And in Mark or Marcus, whatever you want, whatever you want to try, whatever type of way you prefer to say it, whether the English or the Hebrew or Aramaic, however you got to say it, or Greek. In chapter 11, verse 21, it talks about how Mashiach cursed. I'm just gonna say read the whole chapter. How he cursed the fig tree. Why did he curse the fig tree? Because it did not keep the commandments. It wasn't fruitful like it was told to be. Like, and I hear people saying, I heard one man and a woman had 17 children. And so you're telling me that a man can't be fruitful with one wife? Of course. But that was his decision. If he want to do it with one wife, that's his decision. If this person wants to do it with multiple wives, that's his decision. Yeah, I don't know, man. It seems like it's common sense. Like, and like as I go through these, it makes me want to read less, or like to give y'all less information, because it seems almost silly to me to keep going with some people. But I know that this is going to touch somebody, and somebody's going to get the revelation. I think I just choked on some spit. All right, so the next one is, they call it fornication. Fornication is actually sexual immorality, guys. Well, let me get this for you just a second. Let me make sure I keep my number where I am. Okay, yes, 20. Fornication in the Greek concordance is number 4202. It means porneia, fornication or whoredom. So in this case, neither the husband nor the wife or wives are committing fornication. You can find that in Leviticus 18. Sexual immorality, and in other chapters as well. I think it's Leviticus 28 as well. And you can find it in Deuteronomy and all throughout the law where it talks about sexual immorality. Now, with sexual immorality, that, like especially in Leviticus 18, which a lot of people bring up, it deals with sex within family or kinship. It deals with having sex with your father's sister, or your father's wife, or your mother, and it distinguishes between your father's wife and your mother. Also with your sister, and different things like that, and also laying down with two sisters, and letting them see their uncleanness, which is corrupt. But I'll let you read Leviticus 18 for yourself, so that you are not just popping off at the mouth saying, "Oh no, it's fornication." Go back and read Leviticus 18, where it talks about sexual immorality. Another one that I get often is that the first polygynist was a murderer. Adam and Eve was a monogamous couple, were they not? Yet it was them that got us into the deal that we're in now, where we can't even control ourselves. They are the ones that brought sin into the world. So if we're going to try to pinpoint what the first polygynist did, which was Cain, or they try to say Lamech, but Cain married his two sisters. Now, Cain or Lamech was seen still as a righteous man, even though he killed Cain. Now, Cain had what was coming to him, but I mean, it's something that happens down the line. If you kill, you shall be killed, and so on. And that's usually how it goes. But whether it be Cain, let's say Cain was a murderer, Adam and Eve were also adulterers, because they pretty much disobeyed and found another god. You are a slave to who you obey. That snake. The spirit behind that snake got them to disobey the Most High, so they became servants of the snake. You are a slave to who you obey. Man, a lot of these are going to be stupid. All right, so it goes to saying, what is it? No, wait. The Most High will never send you someone else's husband. That doesn't make sense to me. The Most High will not send you anyone else's husband. Why not? Why not? Just answer that for me. Why not? What if Hagar had that same mindset? I ain't taking that. I ain't taking Abraham. That's somebody else's husband. What if Moses' wife also felt like that? Because he had 3 wives. I think one was sent away, but he still had 2 or 3 at one time. Why didn't his other wife feel that same way? You can't answer that, can you? I bet you can. Let's continue on, because Gideon had like 60 wives. And then I get some people to say, oh, it's a Muslim practice. Did you know that Islam, a large percentage of the Quran is from the Torah? So, they, in some cases, they probably follow the Torah more closely than you do. But I'm not even going to hit on that it's a Muslim practice, because that sounds stupid to me. And it's not even... We see, even with them seeing that Abraham did it all before Islam even came into practice, they still want to talk silly. And it's just foolishness. All right, so another one, where does it say that one man can become one with multiple people or multiple women? It doesn't. But if you look at how Mashiach and the church are set up, it's him married to all of us. There's your example if you need it. If you need more, I would say I haven't seen it. Let me get back to my place I was at. Oh, this one is good. This one was real rich. I was like, oh shit. There is always someone. Whoa. I'm a little ahead of myself. There is nothing good that came out of it in the Bible. I disagree. To an extent. Because if you Hebrew, that applies to you. But for the rest of us, we good, because Jacob had 4 wives. He had 4. And we all descended from him. So if by your logic, you ain't shit. If there's nothing good that came from it, then you ain't shit either, because you came from it. I mean, that's just is what it is. But for the rest of us, hallelujah, we are blessed. We are good. There's always someone who is unloved. And they try to reference to Deuteronomy 21 and verse 15. And it says, if a man has 2 wives, one loved and unloved, and the other unloved, and that's all they try to stick with, because they're ignorant. They don't continue on with that to find out what is the actual subject matter. And it's gonna get to that. And they have borne him children. Oh snap, we're getting there. Both the loved and unloved, if the firstborn son is of her who is unloved, now we're at the subject matter, talking about the children. Then it shall be on the day he bequeaths his possession to his sons that he must not bestow firstborn status on the son of the loved wife in preference to the son of the unloved, the true firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the son of the unloved wife as the firstborn by giving him a double portion of all that he has. For he is the beginning of his strength. The right of the firstborn is his. I'm not even going to continue on with that about the love. You just trying to take it out of context, feeling good about the first 2 sentences of the paragraph that you didn't read. And I have the ignorant telling me that Hagar was a concubine. But whenever you go to Genesis chapter 16 and verse 3, it says, and Sarah, or Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her handmaid the Egyptian. After Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her and gave her to her husband, Abram, to be his wife. Bum, bum, bum. Not a concubine. They distinguish between the two in the scriptures as a wife. The next one is coveting. I beg to differ. To covet is to want something that someone else has or to envy them. Single woman is no one else's. Maybe that single woman's father's, but that it doesn't work that way. To covet someone else's stuff is to want something that someone else has. If that woman is not married, then she is no one else's, so it's not coveting. I'm just going to continue on. It's illegal in this country. Although I am not a lawyer and I do not give legal advice, all I can do is give information of things that I've studied and tell you guys to go search it out for yourself. It is not illegal from what I've seen. Is what the illegal part is to have multiple marriages in, let's say, in North Carolina and South Carolina and Michigan, in these different states. And whether the people know or not know, to have contracts with the government and to have contracts with these women to receive benefits. But what is legal is if, from what I've seen, and I'm not giving legal advice, and I'm just going to say you guys can search it out for yourself for informational purposes, is a personal contract or a private contract between two people. That's none of the government's business. And this idiotic person's, I'm not going to call him idiotic, they dumb self. That's why Israel was kicked out of the kingdom. Is that right? So you're telling me Moses, the lawgiver, that's the reason why he was kicked out too? It wasn't because of all the extra and his anger? No. Why was the lawgiver not kicked out? Why was the lawgiver not destroyed when he came into Most High's presence? It's idiotic. Come on now, let's keep up. And whenever people use the next one I got, they just post up 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 1 and 2 that says, "Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband." Now, if you look at that in context, it actually starts in 1 Corinthians 6 and verse 15, where it starts talking about fornication, which is what was in the subject matter that we read prior to. In verse 16, verse 15, it says, "Know ye not that your bodies are members of Hamashiach? Shall I then take the members of Hamashiach and make them the members of a harlot," which is also someone who commits fornication, a female who commits fornication? Yah forbid. What? Know ye not that he which is joined to an harlot is one body? For two, saith he, shall be one flesh. But he that is joined unto Yah is one spirit. Flee fornication. Every sin that a man doeth is without the body, but he that committeth fornication sinneth against his own body. What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Ruach HaKodesh, which is in you, which ye have of Yah, and ye are not your own, for ye are bought with a price. Therefore, glorify Yah in your body, and your spirit, which are Yah's. Now let's continue back to there. Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote to me. All right, now this is his spiel about fornication. Now he's talking about, now concerning the things that ye wrote to me. He's talking about what the person wrote to him in reference to fornication. "It is good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband. The wife have not power of her own body, but the husband, and likewise also the husband have not power of his own body, but the wife. Defraud not ye not one another, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Hasatan tempt you not, for incontinency? I don't know what that word is. I'm too focused right now to even, I can't even pronounce this word. because I just can't even, I don't know. It's really crazy to me. But that scripture right there is talking about, if you look at it in the subject matter, if you know what fornication is, and if you go back to Leviticus 18 and to the other scriptures in the law that talks about sexual immorality or fornication, you can see that it's talking about like no group sex. Let this man have his own wife and not share his wife with someone else. And let every woman have their own husband and not be shared with another man. Like, that's not saying that a man can't have another wife, because we know that that's completely lawful within the law. And he would be going against the law if he said anything like that. So in common sense, we know that this man is going to have this woman by himself. It's not going to be him and his boy tag teaming her. And this woman is not going to have two guys tag teaming her. It's pretty much saying, hey, dude, you have your own wife. Hey, woman, you have your own husband. Don't be sharing dudes. Don't be sharing your wife. So, once again, fornication is porneia, 42:02, in the Greek concordance. It also means whoredom, pretty much having sex with a woman who is having sex with multiple men. And you can even see that in verse 15, where it talks about a harlot, which is a prostitute, or someone who has ritual sex. Let me see, where are we? Just give me a second. In Matthew 5 and verse 32, it says, "But I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causeth her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced committeth adultery." Now, in this case, it's talking about in reference. It's saying any person who has sex with another man, or if a man puts away his wife, it should be because she had sex with someone else, or some type of sexual immorality. Cause of her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced in this situation, that hasn't committed fornication, cause of her to commit adultery. Another one out of Leviticus 18 that they try to put out there is Leviticus 18:18, where it says, give me a second. Thanks for being patient. "Nor shall you take a woman as a rival to her sister, to uncover her nakedness while the other is alive." So it's saying if you're gonna get sisters, don't take both of them while the other one is alive. That's almost like having your sister to uncover her sister's nakedness. So that's what it's saying. Because throughout that chapter, if you look at it, it's the laws of sexual immorality. It's talking about what you shouldn't do and what you should do what you shouldn't do within a family. Now, it ranges from the nakedness of your father, uncovering your mother nakedness, uncovering your father's wife nakedness, which is Leviticus 18 verse 8, the nakedness of your father's wife you should not uncover. And like it's going through the things that you shouldn't do family-wise. But I know people don't want to hear it. They want to hold on to what they have. That's called cognitive dissonance. And I heard like this depressing, it was like a really depressing spirit that was on this one woman. And I can hear her, like almost like crying. And I think hold on, just give me a second. I got me a little bit of ice with her tears. She's like, is one woman not enough? Of course, for a man who desires one woman. She is definitely enough. Hey, I mean, it's common sense. A lot of the men within the scripture was like, hey, one woman is enough for me. This is what I want. I want one woman. This is enough. But you can't necessarily, I mean, if that's not for you, then keep kicking rocks. If polygyny is for you, then hold on to it. It's common sense. Stop trying to, if you don't like something, that doesn't mean that everybody else doesn't have to like it. Those tears are good. All right, so in Deuteronomy, hopefully you guys can still hear me. My ear is itching, this headphone. I've heard Deuteronomy 23 and verse 17. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor sodomite, and of the sons of Israel. All right, so let's go to that scripture. What was that again? Deuteronomy 23 and verse 17. Whew. It's getting hot in here. I want to take off all my clothes. All right, so in verse 17 it says, there shall be no ritual harlot of the daughters of Israel, or a perverted one of the sons of Israel. You shall not bring the wages of a harlot or the price of a dog to the house of Yah your Elohim for any vowed offering, for both of these are an abomination to Yah your Elohim. Now we know what a harlot is, but a perverted one, or what a lot of translations call a sodomite, we just see as a homosexual. But I mean, in its proper context and with the word that I looked up, all right, let's see. A harlot, which is Hebrew Concordance 6948, which is Kedeshah, is a prostitute. And it also sodomites, or what they say, the perverted ones, are male prostitutes. So what gets me is I was wondering, like, why are gay people so sexual and so bent on like promoting like this sexual activity or this sexual mindset? Everything is about sex, and revealing like nakedness. Like, and then you think about the life of a prostitute and how their life revolves around sex, and how hard it is. A harlot, or somebody that's mindset is always on sex and trying to have sex. That's all like that applies. So there shall be no prostitute of the daughters of Israel, nor a perverted one, or somebody who male prostitute, or the sons of Israel. You should not bring the wages of a harlot or the price of a dog, which is a male prostitute, I'm guessing, I mean in proper context, to the house of Yah your Elohim for any vowed offering. For both of these are an abomination to Yah your Elohim. Now, and we know that both of those, in proper context, are abominations. Let's look at Leviticus, 18 and verse 22. Let me get that for you. All right, still going. You shall not lie with male as with a woman. It is an abomination. That's Leviticus 18, verse 22. Look it up, guys. Look it up. They say I'm almost finished. I'm almost finished. Just give me a little time. They say the next one that I usually hear is that's whoremongering. Now, whoremongering is in Strong's exhaustive concordance. A whoremonger is a fornicator, and you can find that in 4205. I think that's in the Greek concordance. Yes. That word is pornos. It means a male prostitute. Now, in no case is someone who practiced patriarchal polygyny a male prostitute. I mean, if you actually understand and actually study it for yourself, then you'll see that they aren't male prostitutes. Dang, my skin look pretty nice in this video. All right, but yeah, let me continue. All right, so the next one, only reason why I didn't really hit on that is because I want you guys to search this out for yourself, and I'm not going to give you everything. I just want to give you a few tastes of what I've studied on my hiatus on Facebook. I actually had some time to study. So the next one is everything Israelites did back then are not for us today. Well, isn't that very Christian of you? Who says that except for Christians? How can you say everything the Israelites did back then are not for us today? Because that's the same thing that the Christian belief says to us. Oh, the law isn't for today. Oh, but there is no law that says that you have to do it. But if a man is married and yet his brother dies and he lives with him, isn't that law for him to give seed to his brother's wife? To marry her? To take her and give seed? I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm missing something. Man, and this one is so feminized and feminist rhetoric. If it was okay, why didn't the Most High give the women of Israel the spirit to accept another woman's presence? You sound so hateful. There are plenty of women who accepted it. There are plenty of women scripturally who accepted it. What type of, that sounds incredibly silly. Why didn't the Most High give a woman the spirit to accept another woman's presence? I can't even respond to that. I can't even respond. I'm just going to leave that one as that. The same person and she's like, respond to me, respond to me. What about my questions? She's like, not to say that a man should have a spirit of a woman, but where's the connection to us?